I love this dude. He's my brother from another mother. And so I want to bring up Mr. Blake Goad.
Thank you. Can we give Josh a round of applause, guys? We love Josh here. He's an amazing part of our team. I'm super excited. How many of you love when stuff gets thrown in you last minute? Okay, one out of a crowd this size, that's not bad. When my dad called me about an hour ago and said, "You're talking," I'm like, cool, thank you for the heads up. So I'm excited. How many of you like jokes? I gotta tell a joke. I always tell jokes, I gotta tell a joke. I like to have fun. One of the G5 values here is we gotta have fun. And the other day I heard this story about this guy that took his pet duck to the doctor. I love this, one of my favorite jokes. He took this pet duck to the doctor and he's like, "Doc, I don't know what's going on. He's not swimming, he's not quacking, he's not doing anything. He's just laying there all day." He goes, "What's going on?" He goes, "I think he's dead." And the doctor's like, "Okay, we'll do some tests. We'll look at him." So he's like, "Bring him back here." So they lay him on a table and he's looking at him and doing some stuff. And then he looks at the nurse and gives the nurse a sign, and the nurse opens this door. And this cat comes running in and starts sniffing around and licking him and whatever the cat does. And the cat looks at the doctor and gives him a look, and the cat runs off, and the doctor goes, "I'm sorry, dude, your duck's dead." He goes, "Doc, you kidding me?" He goes, "How do you know he's dead?" He goes, "Well, we can do one more test, but, we'll see what happens." So he gives the nurse a look, and the nurse opens the door, and this dog comes running in. The dog does the same thing the cat does, sniffing around, licking, doing all this stuff, and the dog looks up and goes, "He's dead." And the doc goes, "Dude, I'm so sorry, but your duck's dead. Your pet duck is dead." He goes, "Well, how do you know, doc? That's crazy." He goes, "But the doc goes, that'll be $2,500. And the guy's like, "Doc, you didn't do anything. What's $2,500? He goes, "We did a CAT scan and a lab report, so it's going to cost a little bit of something." So I love that, right? That was awesome. I love having fun, innocent jokes like that. It's fun. So I'm excited. How many of you have ever heard the phrase MIA? MIA, missing in action. And I feel lately a lot of times there's so many leaders. How many of you know leaders that just fall off the edge of the earth for like a week or two and you don't hear from them? And what's crazy is this phrase is actually a military term for missing in action. And there's warriors out there in the field that go missing. And I know you know what that means is either they were killed in action or they can't find them, right? And it's a negative, in a way it's a negative phrase, right? MIA, it's everybody thinks it's negative. But I decided I wanted to take MIA and make it positive. So I put my own spin on MIA. So to me, it doesn't mean missing in action. I want to change it up. You all ready for some change ups? Yeah. So the M in MIA stands for motivation. How many of you know when the military loses somebody, they have a motivation to go find that person? They have a motivation to go find them. And I believe that, you have to find what motivates you. What motivates you? Is it helping other people get what they want? Because I love the phrase my dad always says is, if you help enough other people get what they want, eventually you'll get what you want. That's motivation. And everybody's got different motivations. And like I said, you have to find what motivates your team also. Because how many of you know what motivates your team will eventually motivate you? Motivation. And just so you know, I'm going to go real fast today because I want to bring my dad up here. Is that cool with y'all? So the I in MIA stands for integrity. Integrity. And everybody's got their own definition of integrity. And I love what my dad always says is doing the right thing at the right time for the right reason. And my dad's going to dive into that a little more. But what I just said right there, if you hear anything else I say today, right there is probably the biggest thing I'm going to say to you all day. Doing the right thing at the right time for the right reason. When nobody is looking. Because how many of you know when nobody's looking and you do the right thing at the right time for the right reason, it's going to come out when people are looking. Right. My dad always says, when you're at home, what you do at home will come out in public. I love that. And I love it. Have you ever heard this book? It's called the Bible. Have you all ever heard of it? It's kind of a big deal. I've heard, I don't know. But in the Bible, this is, I believe, what the Bible's version of integrity is it simply says, do unto others as have you would have done to you. It's as simple as that. How you want to be treated, treat other people that way. So if you give somebody the middle finger down going down I-4, in my book, you want that back, is what I am understanding. Right? Or am I wrong? Or if somebody flips you off, the other day I was with a friend, somebody flipped me off because they cut me off or whatever, and I just waved on him. I just smiled and waved. I was like, yeah, hi, how are you? You're welcome. And they were so mad because I just simply let them go. And I love how all you got to do is when somebody makes you mad, it makes me mad, but I got to learn that as you do unto others, you'll have done to you. I love that. And the A in MIA stands for appreciation. Appreciation. And how many of you know those missing soldiers and all that, when they get found, they appreciate that they went and looked for them. Right? And I love the military code, and it simply says, no man left behind. Both of my grandfathers were in the military. I never got to meet my dad's father, but I got to meet my mom's father, and I spent my whole youth with him. And he just passed away a year ago. And he was one of my heroes. Because how many of you know when they get to a certain age, they start telling the same stories over and over again? I love it. And I would literally ask him the same questions all the time. And I'd get the same stories. But here's what I learned. My dad taught me at a young age, Blake, when they tell the same stories, you're going to get something different out of it every time. Even though you've heard that story 62,000 times, listen for something different you didn't hear before. Listen for something you didn't hear before. And I love this. It just shows how much you care. Appreciation, I believe, shows how much you care. How many of you know when somebody comes up to you and just smiles and says hi, you get filled up? At least I do. I may be the only one in this crowd that does that, but how many of you know if you're out at a restaurant, you smile at the waiter and you say, hey, how are you doing today? Or you say their name. They light up, right? And we have this kindness campaign here at G5 going on right now, and I encourage you all to find out about it. I'm not going to go into it right now, but find out about it. It's so much fun. And I love this. It says the difference between saying thanks and showing thanks are two different things. Guys, that's bigger than you guys are letting me know right now. That's huge. How many of you can say thank you, but until you show thanks, it's different? And you're thinking, well, what do you mean? I can say thank you and they appreciate it. Yes, but until you show them you care, you appreciate them, you went the extra mile to help them, they blossom, right? They blossom. And I love this. Without appreciation and respect for other people and the culture and the people will drown. It'll drown. And I love, have you all know who Sylvester Stallone is? Any Slice fans out there? Well, there was a movie he did called Escape Plan. And there's a line in that movie, and every time I watch that movie, this line hits me every time. And it's the scene, and he's showing him, and he's sitting in prison. And he's showing his friend back at his office, looking at photos of him and his family. And the line he says is that you can take a man's soul, but until you take his heart, it doesn't mean anything. Your family is everything, y'all. And how many of you know, I love him. I know this is a leadership session, but if you're okay, I want to say this. But, God will leave the 99 to go find that one. MIA, mission in action. I want to end with this. I've got two quotes, or actually three quotes I want to say. I love this quote. It simply says, forgiveness does not change what happens in the past, but it can change what happens in the future. Forgiveness does not change what happened in the past, but it can change what happens in the future. So powerful. How many of you know who Arnold Palmer is? I'm a golf fan. I love golf. Arnold Palmer said, the most rewarding things you can do in life are often the ones that look like they cannot be done. Cannot be done. How many of you know the most successful people always say there was that one thing that I feel like I couldn't do, I had to do to overcome it. And I'm going to end with this quote, and I feel like this quote sums up this whole talk, and I'm going to bring my father up. If you're okay, can I share it? So it simply says, your smile is your logo. Your personality is your business card. And how you leave others feeling after an interaction is your trademark. I have to read that quote constantly to remind myself that do unto others as you would have done to you. So I want to thank you all for letting me come up and talk. I am so excited again to be up here. It's been a while. How many of you love leadership? I love leadership. There's something about leadership that's so powerful. So without further ado, would you please help me welcome my amazing, amazing father, Mr. Tim Goad.
Woo! Let's hear it for Blake Goad, man. Wow. Blake, you're throwing down. I'm a little nervous about getting up here now, man. Look at your neighbor, and I want you to say this. I can tell already. I'm a higher performer than you are. Can you tell him that? And that's when the friendship began. Huh? I'm so glad you're here. Listen, I get the privilege to train leaders all over the world, and I love it, and I normally get paid a lot of money to do that. And about 3 or 4 years ago, I said, you know what? I want to be able to gift this to some people. I used to do this every week, and I was killing everybody because you were getting so much information. Those of you that came, you were getting so much information, you didn't know what to do with the information you were getting. But I love leadership so much. Thank you. That's my gorgeous wife right there, Miss Gay. And she doesn't know it, but I may have her talk to you for a second. She is amazing. The only reason I don't let her talk that much is normally if I have her talk, next time they call, they just said, can your wife come and you can stay home? And I'm like, well, that's working out pretty good because now I get to walk the beach and play golf all the time. So it's good. But no, I said, you know what? I want to gift this. And so we kind of started back and it's so fun. And this COVID thing has kind of got people a little nervous, but we're going to grow this. We're going to grow this together. Now, today we're going to talk about leadership. Is that all right? Yeah. We could talk about management, and I think leaders not only lead, but I believe there's a part of their component of their life that they have to manage. Would you agree? Yes. Because how many of you know it's not what you want to get done, but it's what you inspect that gets done? Is that right? What you reward gets done. Is that right? And so clarity is incredibly important in this whole process. We could talk about sales today because I believe that sales is nothing more than a transfer of a feeling. I want you to feel about this the way I feel about this. And I think most people say, well, I'm not a salesperson. And then they'll tell you about a store that they just went to that they loved, or they'll tell you about a meal they had at a restaurant, and you're going, so that ain't selling? That's selling right there, right? It's transfer of a feeling. I want you to feel about this, and I want you to know how good I feel about getting this to you. Is that right? So we'll talk about sales sometime. Can I tell you, this is not about recruiting, even though we could. How many of you know attracting people, training people, and keeping people? Can I get a yeah? That's a big part of what you do as a leader. If you get them and you can't keep them, if you get them and you can't train them, how many of you know that doesn't work out that well? Yeah, come on, we can talk in here today. Say yeah. If you agree, say yeah. Surprise the person you're with and let them know you really can talk in public. Go ahead, man, that's awesome. So leaders, man, we're continually trying to figure out, because we know the truth. Here is the truth. People think that's a growing organization. People think that's a growing company. People think that's a growing church. No, that's a myth. There are people that are growing, and when people grow, an organization grows, a church grows, a company grows, sales grow, recruiting grow. Can I get a yeah? That's right there. So I want you to get some enthusiasm, so much I want you to get enthusiasm that I wrote a book on, and it talks about the science of enthusiasm. Enthusiasm changes everything. None of you really ever want to be around somebody that you don't feel like wants to be around you. My son was all over the place all over it when he was talking about that people never really remember what you say. They don't ever remember really what you do, but they do remember how you make them feel. How you make them feel. So great people, great leaders. I have a question I ask myself all the time. You know what I'm talking about? Here's what I ask myself. What would a great leader do? Not an average leader. Not a half-in leader, not a half-baked leader, not a half-developed leader. Because how many of you know the speed of the leader will be the speed of the team? It will be the speed of the group. The vision of the leader will be the vision of the team. The belief in the leader, the conviction in the leader will be the conviction in the team. Come on, man. This thing's got to come alive. Do you believe? Are you asking me to do more than you're willing to do? Are you asking me for more? Are you asking me to be more? Are you asking me to invest more? Are you asking me for more and you're not willing to give more? Come on, that's not going to work out very well. I will just tell you this, the number one thing people look for in a leader is passion. Yes. Passion. Yes. Do you believe? And some of you think that some people are just naturally passionate. And they are. But passion is learned. Passion is developed. Passion is brought out of itself. If I would have stayed who I was when I was a teenager, I wouldn't be up here right now doing this. I was backwards. I was shy. My brother never meets a stranger. If you ever meet him, he just loves everybody. Hi. I love you, I love me, and you're next. I just want you to know that. That's kind of how he is, man. And in sales and in recruiting, that's how he is. Hey, you're going to love me? He'll walk around singing it. He's got an alarm. He sang a song to alarm. Hey, I'm Sue. I'm the happy man. That thing would go off in the morning when we were growing up. I'd be like, what are you doing? He said, I'm telling me who I am. See, that's more powerful than some of you realize right now. It sounds radical. It almost sounds crazy. But can I tell you, if you don't know who you are, nobody you're selling to, nobody you're recruiting to, nobody around you is going to stink and know that I am the man or the woman for this moment. I don't know how you got so lucky. I don't know how you got so blessed. But I want to tell you right now, you're in the presence of greatness. Oh, should I even want to be great? Greatness, when it's clothed in humility, is such a different look. Humility makes me care. Humility makes me listen. Humility makes me slow down. Humility moves me past my agenda to get to yours. What is it that you want in life? In the next 90 days, all of you that are listening to me right now, whether it's on the app or you're here at G5 today, you have no idea. You have no idea what's about to happen in your life. I just want you to know, when you attract great people, when you train great people, when you keep great people, and you begin to train them on your culture, it changes everything. You see, this is a powerful statement. You build culture by being the culture. And if you can get you and 3 other people to come together in the power of agreement, in any world that you live in any company that you serve in, if you can get you and 3 other people that will buy in, it will create something that will literally blow your mind. Now, you can't be half in. And I want you to know, you can't teach it without being it. Let me say that one more time. You cannot teach it without being it. If you are going to have a brand, if you're going to have a culture, if you're going to have something stamped on the side of your car, if you're going to put a sign in front of your meeting room, if you're going to do it, you have got to make sure that you live and it comes to life when they get in your presence. Is that all right? This is so critical for you because this is going to help you make more money in less time. Are you okay with that? This is going to help you be not only more effective, it's going to make you be more efficient. As a leader, the question I'm always asking is, how can I get further faster? How can I grow faster? If I can get 10 people, could I get 50 people in the same amount of time? How many of you know I like that? That makes me celebrate in different places. And I'm going to say something to you that I want you to hear and I want you to start thinking about. And I really want to help you. But most of you are 3 people away from a totally different life. 3 of the right people, because right people do right things. They make right things happen. I love the statement. My son said it. Leaders do the right thing at the right time for the right reason in the right way. Leaders do the right thing at the right time for the right reason in the right way. Boy, I could talk for 2 hours just on that. Anybody besides me ever done the right thing at the wrong time? I tried to take people too far. I tried to adjust them too much. In the area of leadership, how many of you know if you don't have vision, you can't see potential. You're trying to lead people, and if you don't have vision, then you're not going to see the potential in other people. Isn't that amazing? So when you start to do this, you're going to have to find out the only real way to teach anything is to be it, to live it. So that means I've got to be doing the right thing at the right time, for the right reason, in the right way. Now let me tell you why this is critical. I used to only do those three, and then I added in the right way. Because I found out that you can do the right thing in the wrong spirit. And anytime I try to move you for my benefit instead of your benefit and our mutual benefit, I'm not doing it in the right way. Can I ask you a question? Look at that list of things right now and ask yourself, am I doing the right thing? I think leaders, this drives us nuts every day of our lives. Am I doing what I need to be doing right now? You ever get caught doing the wrong thing? I'm not talking about immoral or unethical. I'm just talking about not putting my hand in the right place. Doing what I need to be doing, but not doing it where I need to do it. At the right time. Some of you right now, if you put this on your relationship with your spouse or your family, are you doing the right thing at the right time? You ever have the wrong conversation or the right conversation at the wrong time? I just want to tell you, if you're married, don't ever try to talk about deep, deep things before dinner or right at bedtime. Not a good time. And according to whether you're a shark or a turtle, sharks love to talk. And we actually get healed when we talk about things. So we want to talk. Turtles, they just want to go in their shell. Well, if you want to drive a shark crazy, just go in a shell. We feel dishonored. We feel unloved. We don't feel noticed. Do you know what I'm talking about? See, some of you are building companies right now, and you're having the time of your life because you don't have any difficult people yet. Now, difficult people are normally called a leader. If you have a genuine leader, please give them something to lead. If not, they will drive you crazy. I'm just telling you, you're going to appreciate me later for what I just told you. Give them something to lead. Give them something to do right and give them something to mess up on. At the right time for the right reason. What is your motive? And in the right way, what is your spirit? What is your spirit? Let me tell you, when you're not leading in the right way, is when you're allowing anger and pain to speak words into people's lives instead of encouragement and uplifting. So here's what I normally do. I'll go along for a little bit, and if you have a question, this is kind of interactive here, and I want to talk with you about it, okay? But I want to talk to you because as a leader, we're always trying to create a better and better culture. The problem with that is culture is created by values and principles. It's created by ideas and feelings. It's created by a clear set of principles that says this is the way to go. It's not laws and it's not rules. So how do you get this total buy-in of a team where you have one mind and one accord? How do you do this? By the way, I would love someday to just spend about 6 hours unpacking that with you, especially with a whiteboard in your life and in your company. How could we increase the quality of your life? How could we increase the profitability of your life? Let me just ask you a question right now. Look back on your life. Anybody in the room besides me ever make a mistake? Those of you that are not raising your hands are liars. You just made one. I'm kidding. No, I'm not. How many of you know that you're going to make greater decisions if you follow that process? Right? How many of you know you're going to spend less money? How many of you know it's going to be less irritation inside of you. I can tell you that list right there will change the direction of your life because it will change the culture of your organization. It will cause the decisions and the choices that you make to be different. Leadership is visual. And here's what I did, and I want to talk to you just for a second and about this. I wrote a book. Some of you have read it, some of you have not, called Vocabulary of a Leader. I stopped writing 300-page books when I realized most leaders only read about 100 pages and they lay the book down. All of you right now got books at home that you've not finished. And if you're like me, I go and I order about 10 other books. And then I'll skim them and I'll go for the high thing and you know, audios on book, all these things happen. This book, if you read it, you will throw it against the wall at least 8 times. No, I'm serious. It will irritate you. Because what I found out is a leader, first of all, speaks differently than anyone else. And then when you get around a high-performing team, they just have a different language. When I walk into a team and they ask me to come and help them get their culture in order, the first thing I start to listen to is the vocabulary of the leader. And here's what happens. Are you ready, leaders? You need what I'm going to give you right now. What's keeping you from doing what you need to do and knowing what you presently need to know is what you already know. And we keep doing what we've always done in the same way, expecting a different result. It won't happen. That's why I really am so proud of you today for coming off the battlefield and being willing to sharpen your axe so that you can go out and with less energy get way more done because you slowed down to speed up. Okay, do me a favor as I'm going. If you have a question, so good to have you. If you have a question, please write it down, and in a minute I will take questions. It's not because I know everything, but here's what I do know. I can give you a different perspective on what you're dealing with. I talked with several leaders this morning, and mostly what I did, honestly, is I gave them a different perspective. And when you get a different perspective, it gives you fresh energy to attack. And you no longer feel stuck. As a leader, you feel stuck. Now, can I tell you about a big idea, and then we'll talk about this for a second. Can I talk to you about a big idea? Yes. Most people come to me and they want me to work on what they do. And I go, okay, but first of all, I got to work on who you are. And that's where I lose a lot of people. But the only way you and I will ever do anything better or beyond what we've already done is to take a look inside and say, where do I need to be different? It's not that you're even wrong. It's just that you need to do it different. How many of you would agree with me that in the last 20 years, some of you are barely 20-year-old, but I can tell you, even you will know that the world is not the same place it used to be. Right? You realize that anytime you talk to somebody over 40, most of them were raised where they went to work and they were loyal to a company. You go one generation away from that and you're around a group of people that are loyal to themselves and they switch companies multiple times. You're also dealing with a generation that now will leave a high-paying job to be in a culture where they're appreciated and noticed. And it will drive you crazy. I have car dealerships that come to me all the time, and if you've ever sold cars, I think it's one of the craziest professions on the planet. But man, you're talking about a high-strung bunch of people. And they always tell me, Tim, I keep losing my top sales guys. And I want to go, Bo, if you don't start talking to them differently, if you don't start treating them differently, they're going to walk from you. Because what matters to them is that they're valued and they're appreciated. By the way, the number one way for you to get loyalty and buy-in from people, do you know what it is? The number one way is for you to add value to their lives. So when I get around a leader, man, I got a guy here on the front row. His name is Donnie. We've been friends for almost 40 years, and we've had the privilege to touch leaders all over the globe. But can I tell you, a little secret in the back of our heart has always been, how can I add value to you? You see, everybody that comes to you is looking to you and saying to you right now, do you have any answers for the problems and challenges and situations that I'm facing? And before you can help somebody move in their life, the number one thing they ask is, can I trust you? So before you can help somebody move in their life, is you've got to find out that one voice in their life that they trust more than any other voice. Are you with me? So you got to slow down. You got to listen. You got to care. And if you listen and care, then that earns the right for you to share. So critical. So when I get around these leaders and I would walk in their companies and I would walk in their locker rooms, football teams and basketball teams, and when I would get around companies that were thriving, when I would get around churches, I would walk in their rooms and I was amazing how many of them were trying to do something great, but they weren't speaking the same language. A smart leader knows I have got to build a culture and a language that everybody knows, and it's just to us. And now I can charge. So let me just give you a couple today, and then we'll take some questions, okay? The first thing I always listen for is leaders, and these were the 10 that I wrote down. There were probably about 20 more, but I didn't even write them down. But the number one thing I found, and if you've got this, go back and read it because I'm going to talk about it, because the first thing you're going to find out they talk about is their vision. What separates you from everybody else in the room, do you know what it is? Your picture of tomorrow. Do you believe it's bleak? Do you believe it's dark? Or do you believe it's bright? Do you believe these are the finest moments that we've ever had in our lives? That's why Walt Disney, who is only 15 minutes from here, would say that a dream and a vision begins with just 2 words, just imagine. Now, how good are you at imagining? Can I tell you, I want my wife to come and talk to you at some point because she married this crazy visionary who believed that even though I didn't have a college education, even I didn't have all the advantages in life, I lived on a little country road, I had holes in my jeans before it was popular. Do you know what I'm talking about? But I believed that from that little country road, I could touch the world. Is it any wonder that I built an organization that touched 180 nations, 500 employees, 5,000 volunteers? By the way, if you want to know leadership, lead somebody you cannot fire. That's right. You'll find out how to lead people. Volunteers are not easy. I love you. You're in the room. I love you, but you give me gray hair. White? See, here's what I know. Leaders are so grateful for what they've done, what they've learned, what they've won at. They're so grateful for their past successes, but they don't want to stay there very long. They're always going, but just imagine. Matter of fact, my wife and I wrote a marriage book, and it's just called Just Imagine. Imagine the marriage that you always dreamed of. Imagine a marriage where honestly you weren't just business partners, but you actually loved life, actually believing that you could love to watch sunrises and sunsets together, that your heart and your home could be full of love and kindness. Can you imagine the person that you can become? Do you realize if we expand your capacity, if we grow you, if we empower you, if we strengthen you, if we encourage you, can you imagine what you'll become? Let me tell you, greatness never comes to you fully developed. Let me talk to you for a second. Without vision, you will shrink people. You will make them smaller instead of make them bigger. One of the greatest cries of my heart and I know of leaders in this room that are listening to me right now, is that when people get around me, they don't feel smaller, they actually feel bigger. See, a lot of leaders try to get everybody to think and feel how great they are. Look at me. And they build their whole lives with their watches and their rings and their cars to say, look at me. But I've found out that people feeling good about me doesn't cause them to do great things. I've found out when they leave and they're feeling great about themselves and they're going, good God, if that guy can do it, anybody can do it. Matter of fact, sometimes I love doing it so bad that people look at me and go, give it to me. Give it to me. See, some of us believe we've got to be so good. And by the way, you want to be that good if you need to be that good. But if you're going to start training others, if you're going to start raising others, you don't want to be so good that nobody else feels like they can be it. Come on, that's better than we're talking about right now. So I can tell you, they have an appreciation and a gratitude for yesterday. They enjoy the present, but man, they're going, there's more. I believe the day you're here, and I believe there are thousands more. I believe if we open this up, I believe this place would not be nearly big enough for the people right now that are saying, I've got dreams and visions and hopes inside of me, and if somebody would just believe in me. Yeah, this is not, well, here's how you make a phone call. No, if we turn you into the gorilla and the gorilla-esque that you are, I'm not even sure that's a word. But if we turn you into that, can I tell you something? You're going to make some phone calls. And you're going to take the same time, the same energy, the same moment, and your results are going to be so different. Do you know why? Because the song sounds so different off of your lips. Have you ever heard somebody sings and they're so proper, but you're just like, could this just please get over? And then somebody stands up and they may sing a little off chord, but man, there's such passion and pain and fire and belief that you're going, oh my gosh. See, do you believe that what you're selling is going to change their future? Do you believe that their children's children are going to be blessed by what you do? Do you believe that their marriage is going to get better, that their finances are going to get better? Do you believe that everything in their life is going to get better because you stopped by? And if you don't believe that, you won't close. You'll back off. But if you love people, you'll close. You'll close. You see, I love being around people that are excited about right now, but they're even more excited about where we're going. I have all these leaders that come to me from all these companies, and can I tell you, the first thing I do is I step in on and I watch them. Sometimes they get really close, and then sometimes this is going to happen to you. They'll push away. Do you know why? Because what the next level is for them demands too much personal change. But I will tell you, because I love you, you cannot remain who you are. I cannot remain who I am and step into the future that was designed for me. You see, can I tell you something? Oh my gosh, can we talk? Most people tolerate their lives. They don't lead their lives. Do you know why? Because they believe that whatever their life gave them is what they've got to stay with. I came today to tell you, please hear me. You may need to pull over right now if you're driving. I want you to write it down in capital letters. I can design the life that I want to live. I can. I want you today to do some homework. If you're crazy, write down 5 things that you would change in your present life to make it better. If you're like really, really crazy, write down 10. What would you change? Would you change the car you drive? Would you change where you eat? Would you change where you live? Would you change? What would you change? I mean, isn't it amazing to me that over here at Disney, they have a whole department called the department called Imagineering. That means they've got a bunch of people engineering by imagination the future. In the next 90 days, what will your quota be? What will your sales be? What will your company be? How will we be organized like we're not organized right now? Here's what I can tell you. You're about to attract some right people that are going to cause you to go way beyond anything you could think or imagine. I'm telling you, get ready, but you've got to be it or you can't lead it. And if you need it, you can't lead it. Oh, come on. Can we unpack that? I can't say it again. You're going to have to rewind it. I know it's true, though. You're going to have to be it if you lead it. And if you need it, you can't lead it. If you need somebody to the point that you can't do it, you'll never be able to lead them. Are you with me?
Yes.
But if you know I've got a spot for you and I can lead it, and you're needed, but not to the point that we won't get it done if you're not here. Are you with me? See, some of you have created a culture and an environment that it's stagnant, and you think that unless all these people are not with you, you can't build it. Where they need to be feeling around you, if I don't get the job done, they're going to leave me. Oh, come on. That is better and bigger than you know. So if people are bugging you and bothering you in your leadership, if they sense that when they get in your presence, you irritate them, and by the way, there are people that will irritate you. They will just absolutely irritate. They've got a personality that will irritate you. If I had a moment to sit with you and whiteboard it, I would find out what that person would be. But here's what I want you to know. When you sit with anybody, you need to be thinking about this. Are you ready? Yes. Write fast. What could be? What should be? What can be? And what will be? What could be? What could be our sales? What could be our team? What difference in this world could we make? If we don't do this, who's going to be hurt most by it? Do you believe that what you do you believe that what you sell, do you believe that the mission you're on, that if you don't get it accomplished, people are actually going to be hurt? If you don't believe that in your soul, you will never have the confidence, not the arrogance. You'll be clothed in arrogance and not clothed in humility. Humility has to be birthed in love. We're not used to that word in corporate America, are we? Love. Oh, talk about love. You mean Barry White love? See, some of you are so young, you don't even know who Barry White is. Go Google him and listen to him. You will be addicted after that, baby. You're going to love it. It's going to make your sales go through the roof. I just want to let you know that. Isn't it amazing when you go over to Disney, they have this place called Tomorrowland. Every time people get around you, they should feel like, I'm going to Tomorrowland. So if all you keep doing is dealing with yesterday's problems and inadequacies and brokenness and dysfunction, do you understand why you can no longer stay there? Do you understand why a team needs you and I to step up and be functional and be on guard? And for whatever you do, don't spend your whole life trying to get the approval of wrong people. If you don't know what you're working for, if you don't know what the reward is, if you don't know the next gift you're going to buy your wife, if you don't know the next donation that you're going to give, you will not perform. There's got to be something bigger than money in your checking account. You've got to have a house you want, a car you want, a gift you want to give. If you don't have it, you ain't going. I'm telling you right now. You can tell. I can yell at you all day long and I can scare the you know what out of you. You'll only serve me so long out of fear. And before long, you're going to go, no, I'm free. I'm free. By the way, anybody that ever gets controlled by fear will shrink. Because fear will take your energy out the back door. Thomas Edison said, I like the dreams of tomorrow more than the history of the past. I like the dreams of tomorrow more than the history of the past. You ever have this happen to you? You ever get around somebody and all they can talk about is yesterday? Oh man, I used to be the guy on the team. Oh, my sales used to be this. Oh, I had a company that did this. Oh, you ought to hear about me. This is what happened to me then. I notice that when I get around leaders, they don't really spend very much time talking about their accomplishments. They look at it, they appreciate it, and they move on. Why? Because life is not sitting still. It's not sitting still, it's moving. So what does your tomorrows look like? By the way, don't think that it's just automatically going to come to you. It's amazing how things automatically come to you when you set up the automatic part that makes it happen. Are you with me? This is critical. So I can tell you, your dreams need to be bigger than your memories. And your dreams need to be bigger than your mistakes. And here's what my wife and I have discovered in our lives. If you're dreaming and you're a visionary, you're going to find out that most rewarding things in your life are not things, but they're memories. I had this moment. I had this memory. Some of us have memories that we continue our whole life trying to overcome. Some of us have memories that when you think about it, it inspires you. It inspires you. Are you okay? Okay, can I give you one more and then I'm gonna move. The book is life-changing. If you've read it, I would encourage you to read it again with your team. Pat Riley, basketball coach, says that teamwork happens when everyone's energy is going in the same direction. And when that happens, a feeling of significance comes on. Tonight, I'm going to give you the 3 things that happen in your life when significance is released in your life. It's life-changing. The second thing I find they're always doing is they're talking unity. They're always talking all for one and one for all. They're talking community. They're talking team. They're talking family. If I had a moment, I would whiteboard with you right now. Guys that I'm coaching into new business opportunities, here's the 3 things I want you to build in your organization because it is the 3 things that all high-performing teams have in it. There is a sense of destiny. We'll talk about this later. There's a sense of family. I belong. I matter. I'm important. I'm making a difference. The last one is this warrior spirit that says when it's too tough for everybody else, it's just right for us. If you get 10 people and we drill that in their soul where they begin to live it, you're not going to believe what happens to your numbers. You're not going to know what's going to happen to your company. They know the power of unity. There is no power outside of unity. You fight one another. You're divided. And here's what I know. A divided house will not stand. A divided company will not stand. A divided church will not grow. A divided networking business will not develop and grow. A divided mind. Some of us are double-minded. And we're unstable in everything we do. One day we're on it, one day we're not. How many of you know that success has very little to do with feelings? It means I decided. I used to live in Ohio, and I was always amazed when a blizzard would come because I would see the first snowflake and be like, ah. And then all of a sudden, a bunch more would come, and then it was like they had a convention. And then it's like they go, hey, let's get unified. And when they got unified, they would shut down roads, they would shut down an airport. You and your organization, you and your company. Come on, how much unity, if I put a unity gauge on your organization right now, how unified are you? How together are you? How much do you have one another's back? How much do you see the same thing? How much are you saying the same things? Are you doing the right thing at the right time for the right reason in the right way? Yes. People ask me all the time, are you a motivational speaker? I said, I hope so. And then other people say, well, I'm a motivational teacher. I'm going, I hope so. But I want to tell you what I want to be is I want to be somebody that when I stand in any environment, I look around in the eyeballs of the warrior leaders that are standing with me and I go, unity. Nothing will come between you and me. And anytime somebody tries to sneak in, because I want to tell you the third person in anybody's relationship is always the voice that destroys it. Be aware. Harmony is such an incredible thing. It breeds accomplishment. Harmony breeds accomplishment, agreement. See, in this, we've got to start recognizing each other's gifts, talents, and abilities. And as a leader, you can't be threatened by somebody else's gift, talent, and ability. In your life, you should always be looking for somebody that could take your place. The faster you can get your place taken, you can start developing another place, and another place, and another place, and another place. How many of you know you get enough places developed, that kind of turns the faucets on, and it gets more money flowing. And how many of you know more money means we can do more stuff? I'm glad I'm talking to people that understand that. You see, a team that continually points out each other's strengths will always outrun the team that constantly points out each other's flaws. Oh, I caught you. You're not as good as you should have been. Oh, you let us down. Hey, you had a great week. You had a great week. I know it wasn't what you wanted, but you had a great week. I remember when you used to hope you'd just have that week. See, can I tell you, salespeople, I love you. You're the most insecure. You're just insecure. Do you know why? One week you're like through the roof and you don't even know why. The next week you're sucking wind just to get the first 1,000 in. You're like, how can this be so different? Some of you that are creative, you write. Some of you, it just like turns on. And then some of you go to write and you're like, Mary had. You can't get nothing to come out. Write songs. Here's what they tell you if you want to write songs. Here's what they tell you if you're going to write books. Get up every day and write. And it's amazing how inspiration will invade your space when you're carrying out the discipline. Get on the phone. Make the call. Shake the hand. Build unity. If you can start seeing the greatness that's untapped in people, I can just tell you here at G5, get ready because I am like laser focused right now on building a younger generation that's going to rock the foundations of this earth. And we're going to get them way in over their head. And they're not going to be comfortable. They're going to squeal like pigs. I'm telling you, it's going to be awful. And some of you have gone through a year of constant squealing. And you're even mad at somebody because they could have lifted the weight off of you and they didn't. But if they would have, you would have never gained the strength to lift what it is you're supposed to lift. Come on, this is bigger than you know. Thank you for the hand clap. Thank you. So I want to tell you this, and then I'm going to take questions. And I don't like what I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to tell it to you. The way to unity is through conflict. The way to unity is through conflict. It's through this spirited exchange of ideas where you never let an issue get greater than the relationship. It's where you value people and you can disagree. Do you know what most people do when they disagree? They leave. Right. They won't even tell you I disagree. They just leave. They'll get up and preach, oh, love is everything. And as soon as you disagree with them, oh, you're hateful. No, I'm not hateful. I'm asking a question. By the way, leaders will ask questions. Some of us, if we got low self-esteem, we get offended by them. No, leaders will ask questions. When are we leaving? How long are we going to be gone? Are we stopping to pee? Are we going to eat? Who's driving? I mean, you got to ask important questions, especially when you're going on a trip. Do you know what I'm talking about? Blake, that you just saw up here talking, can I tell you? When he was a little boy, he would drive his mother Mama G, she crazy. She would come to me and go, oh my gosh, he's just so full of questions. And I said, honey, leaders ask questions. They want to know. You want to know. You want to know, if I do this, what's the reward? You want to know, if I work this hard and give this up, what's the reward? You want to know deep in your soul, what is it? So remember, I told you that if you want to lead, you need to listen and you need to care. What are you listening for? I'd love to have an hour session just on this. Let me give you something in 1 minute. I'm looking for their beliefs. I'm looking for their opinions. I'm looking for their values. I'm looking for their hopes. I'm looking for their dreams. I'm looking to see what their yesterdays were full of. I'm looking to find out what they want their tomorrows to be full of. You see, every one of you, honestly, you have no idea the difference that you're going to make in this world right now, and that difference that you're going to make intimidates you. Because right now you don't feel like you have enough. So anytime people feel like they're over their head, you know what they start causing? Division. Division. They start cutting things apart. Watching every great movement that's ever happened, division always finds its way in. As a leader, you've got to be aware in the vocabulary of a leader that unity and harmony and oneness. You see, there's a difference in being uniform and having uniformity. You see, I can walk hand in hand when you and I don't see eye to eye. But what we always decided is once we made the decision, we closed the door, and now the mission and the ideal was more important than the personality. Okay, that's a lot. I want to challenge you. Read Vocabulary of a Leader and go have your greatest 90 days you've ever had in your life. Charge.